The Clippers got from Indiana in the Ivica Zubac trade will make his Clippers debut tonight. For Clippers fans unfamiliar with Mathurin, you're going to like him. The 4-year veteran from Arizona has some pop to his game. Top 5 women's college basketball teams in this week's national rankings: UConn, 23-1 UCLA, South Carolina, Texas, and Vanderbilt. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
What's up? What's up? What's up?
We got to laugh the pain away.
Hey, KBLA delegation, happy Black History Month. Around here, we celebrate our culture, our community, and our contributions daily. But this year, as we observe the 100th anniversary of Black History Month celebrations, we're excited about our annual KBLA Talk 1580 Black History Month Luncheon, honoring comedy greats. On Thursday, February 26th at the Grammy Museum in downtown LA, we're toasting D.L. Hughley, Melanie Camacho, Earthquake, Munell, Dion Cole, and Martin Lawrence with a surprise guest appearance. A limited number of individual tickets for the luncheon remain, so now would be a good time to head to KBLA1580.com to secure one for yourself. That's KBLA1580.com. A little laughter goes a long way, especially in times like these. So come, join us for our annual KBLA Talk 1580 Black History Month Luncheon, Thursday, February 26th at the Grammy Museum. Again, tickets are available right now at KBLA1580.com.
Well, I hang around my boy. He been married for 6 years. Videotaping his wedding day, never watched it. Now and every day he watch it every day, but he watch it in reverse. Because he said he loves seeing himself take that ring back off of that finger. Walking back down that aisle, just waving at her ugly mother down the church. Getting back in the limo, back at the bachelor party. Look how happy I was.
KBLA Talk 1580 thanks LA City Council members Curran D. Price Jr. and Heather Hutt for being the presenting sponsors at this year's Black History Month Luncheon. Honoring excellence, resilience, and achievement, we're KBLA Talk 1580.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DePrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
It's just me against the world.
In the city, the cops are topping me. The project is full of bullets, no bodies is dropping. They ain't no stopping me. Constantly moving while making millions. Witnessing killings, leaving dead bodies in the abandoned buildings. Carries the children cause they're illin'. Addicted to killing and the appeal from the cap villain. Without feeling, but will they last or be blasted? Hard at it. Maybe you'll listen in this casket, the aftermath. More bodies being buried. I'm losing my homies in a hurry. They relocating to the cemetery. Got me worried, stressing my business blurry. The question is, will I live? No one in the world loves me. I'm headed for danger. Don't trust strangers. Put one in the chamber whenever I'm feeling this anger. Don't wanna make excuses, cause this is how it is. What's the use unless we're shooting? No one notices the youth. It's just me against the world, baby.
Me against the world.
It's just me against the world. It's just me against the world.
Me against the world.
Cause it's just me against the world, baby. Me against the world. I got nothing to lose. It's just me against the world, baby.
I got nothing to lose.
Could somebody help me? I'm out here all by myself. See ladies and stones, baby Capone's, living wealthy. Pictures of my birth on the surface, what I'm dreaming. Seeing daddy seeming full of crooked demons, already crazy and screaming. I guess the nightmares as a child had me scared, but left me prepared for a while. Is there another route for a crooked outlaw, veteran, a villain, a young thug?
Every day there's more death, and plus I'm no less. Some CMO reasons for me to proceed with thieves. Scheme on and scheming and leave that beefs breathing. Cause ain't no punch to stack up. My backed up, I'm about to act up. Go load the Mac up, now watch me clack up. Try make a fact up, but yo, it ain't working. And evil's lurking, I can see him smirking when I get the purpose. So what? Go put some work in and make my mail, make the sales. Risk of 25 with an L, but oh well.
not the Black history I had in mind. We are locating our guests right now, but I'm hearing Miles put the Tupac on for me today, and it's bringing a different kind of Black history to my mind, some hip-hop history, and, you know, rest in peace, Pac. Let me just say that. Rest in peace, Pac. It goes to this theory that I have, which I call, you know, children of the revolution, sons and daughters of the revolution, the next generation of Black power, the generation after the generation of Black power. And we say protesting, marching, the freedom schools. Some people like to say these things do not have any impact. But then you see someone like Tupac Shakur, right, in his work. What does that come out of? It comes from his mom, Afeni Shakur, and her work with the Black Panther Party. It comes from Mutulu Shakur and his work in Black liberation. It comes from the Oakland and East Coast also, because y'all are going to say, well, he was really from Baltimore and Marin City and LA. But all of those traditions, wherever he might have been, he was growing up in the context of the Black liberation struggle, the things he heard, what he knew, what he was exposed to, his formative years. He is coming up steeped in Black culture and radical Black history, which helped shape his worldview. And the list goes on, right? So even as we see this president, and it's not just the president, it's his whole team and the broligarchs, the billionaire bros that surround him, even as we see them rolling back our rights, taking away our rights, putting forward an agenda of white supremacy, and really trying to roll the clock back to before we had the vote, literally, right? To before we had agency, before we were even considered full human beings. They are busy rolling back the clock, but it cannot be done. And they can roll it back temporarily, but it's not going, they won't prevail. And part of the reason is because of the Black history that is in us. Tupac Shakur was a reader. He was someone who would crack a book, who pursued knowledge, as an artist, as an activist, as a rapper. And I'm speaking as someone who knew him. Like, we didn't hang out every day. I'm not saying he was my best homie, but I did know him. But he didn't have to, because he grew up steeped in that, right? I mean, when I say he didn't have to, we all have to. But I'm saying it wasn't necessary for him to become conscious. It's the same with several generations. I was going to say a whole generation, but no, it's several generations. I mean, even Malcolm X, his mom and dad were activists. He didn't pop out of the ground like a mushroom with no roots. Martin Luther King Jr., his dad and mom were activists. And we can go on and on. You know, the mayor of Newark, New Jersey, my own brother, he's an avid reader. He's an avid reader and a writer, a poet. But even if he never cracked one single book, he went to freedom schools. He grew up at rallies and poetry readings and plays and conferences. Just as I did, just as my child is, just as Miles did. Miles' dad is an activist. See, these are the seeds that can't be unplanted. These are the changes that change not just laws and policies, but attitudes and norms, expectations. I can tell you the difference between my generation, Miles' generation, and my son's generation in terms of expectations. The millennials, which is Miles' generation, they don't want to wait. They're not, you guys, from my experiences, don't want to wait, don't want to bend the knee. Gen Z is even a step further down the road than that, because I call them the on-demand generation. They are going to expect it now. And they do not conform to the norms. Growing up, even as activists, even in a radical tradition, we were taught to be strategic, and you pick your battles, and sometimes you have to wait. And remember when President Barack Obama first ran, it was a lot of Gen Xers and boomers who were saying it's not his turn, it's not his turn. He's got to wait his turn. You'll never hear that from millennials or Gen Z. It's whose ever turn is on the mic. It's whose ever turn makes it happen. These are the seeds that were planted by the civil rights movement, by Black history, innovators, historians, activists, even lawmakers, because they are planted in our children and their children. And so, yes, protesting makes a difference. Yes, freedom schools. Yes, conferences. Even if it seems like nothing came out of it, there was a kid sitting there, learning a thing. There was a child, like I said earlier in the week, who decided they wanted to be Max Roach and practices every day. There's a Raymond O. Caldwell who you just heard in the first hour, who grew up under the tutelage of Ntozake Shange, who now is at the Fountain Theater bringing a political perspective, a lived experience to the table. We are Black history, and we will not be erased. We are Black history, and we cannot be erased. It's a perfect time to call me. Turns out we got time today. I'm Dominique DePrima for KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580 is an intervention. When we come forward, includes you. KBLA Talk 1580, turning pain into power.
At Charmin, we heard you shouldn't talk about going to the bathroom in public, so we decided to sing about it.
Charmin Ultra Strong. You can use less, better than the rest. Charmin Ultra Strong. Your booty past the clean test. Salmon wave texture, it's the best. Study up, teach a lesson on fresh. Your booty past the clean test. Yes, sir. Charmin Ultra Strong.
Charmin Ultra Strong with diamond weave texture cleans better than the leading one-ply brand, so you can use less. Enjoy the go with Charmin.
Is reviewing life insurance on your to-do list? Now's the perfect time to add it. A friend recently told me that securing life insurance sooner rather than later can help you lock in lower rates for years to come. So I bumped this up on my list and got it done. I called SelectQuote and couldn't believe how easy and affordable life insurance is. I'm 40 and got a $500,000 policy for $16 a month. My husband's also 40. And his $500,000 policy was only $18 a month. Plus, with SelectQuote's same-day coverage, there was no medical exam required, and we were covered by the time we hung up. Knowing I have this checked off my list feels amazing, but the peace of mind knowing my family is protected feels even better.
Call SelectQuote at 1-800-729-7070. That's 1-800-729-7070. Or go to SelectQuote.com to get your free quote today. That's 1-800-729-7070. Details on example rate at SelectQuote.com.
What's up? What's up? What's up? We got to laugh the pain away.
Hey, KBLA delegation, happy Black History Month. Around here, we celebrate our culture, our community, and our contributions daily. But this year, as we observe the 100th anniversary of Black History Month celebrations, we're excited about our annual KBLA Talk 1580 Black History Month Luncheon, honoring comedy greats. On Thursday, February 26th at the Grammy Museum in downtown LA, we're toasting D.L. Hughley, Melanie Camacho, Earthquake, Munell, Dion Cole, and Martin Lawrence, with a surprise guest appearance. A limited number of individual tickets for the luncheon remain, so now would be a good time to head to KBLA1580.com to secure one for yourself. That's KBLA1580.com. A little laughter goes a long way, especially in times like these. So come, join us for our annual KBLA Talk 1580 Black History Month Luncheon, Thursday, February 26th at the Grammy Museum. Again, tickets are available right now at KBLA1580.com.
Well, I hang around my boy. He been married for 6 years. Videotaping his wedding day, never watched it. Now and every day he watch it every day, but he watch it in reverse. Because he said he loves seeing himself take that ring back off of that finger. Walking back down that aisle, just waving at her ugly mother down the church. Getting back in the limo, back at the bachelor party. Look how happy I was.
KBLA Talk 1580 thanks LA City Council members Curran D. Price Jr. and Heather Hutt for being the presenting sponsors at this year's Black History Month luncheon. Honoring excellence, resilience, and achievement, we're KBLA Talk 1580.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DePrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Yeah, I say all that to say that I feel like this administration is doing their best to erase history, but it will not work. It will not work long term. Since 2025, which, man, I mean, it's only been a year. This man has been in office. They really have been, you've heard of the war against poverty, the war on poverty, the war on drugs. Now it's the war on history. They have gone out of their way to erase monuments to enslaved persons from our national parks and public spaces. They have brought back Confederate statues, monuments to our traitors who tried to secede from this country and lost the Civil War. Bringing back the names of Confederates to U.S. military bases. Fort Bragg is now Fort Bragg again. Instead of, it was renamed Fort Liberty in 2023. They're bringing back the white history that is white supremacist history, not the white history that is part of the rainbow of history, which is our country, American history. That's why we say Black history is American history. It was out of the struggles and marches of 2020 that many of these Confederate names were changed from schools, from military bases, from parks, that Confederate statues came down. The fact that they were even there ever is incredible. Germany doesn't allow you to put up Nazi statues. Imagine, a statue to Himmler. You can't do it. Nazi imagery, you can't do it. But we can have Confederate flags. And this administration has taken a full-throated endorsing approach to re-glorifying our racist past. That's why I was saying earlier, I don't get why these conservatives are suddenly got their panties in a bunch about the Obamas being portrayed as monkeys. Oh, but you're fine with bringing back Confederate traitorous ideology, imagery, history. In 2020, it was the Congress with bipartisan support, something, I don't believe in. I not because I don't think it's good, but because I think it's as rare as citing the Sasquatch. They mandated that the military change the names of all of the bases that were named after Confederates. There were 9 of them. This was an independent, nonpartisan naming commission that came up with new names to honor American principles, values, and heroes instead of Confederates. And by the end of 2023, all those Confederate names were gone. Finally. Something that in any other country would just be a no-brainer. What? You're just now? And the crazy thing is a lot of these things glorifying the Confederates, the statues and the military bases and schools, did not happen after the Civil War. They happened not right after the Civil War. They happened in the 20s, the 30s, the 50s. So that's even crazier. Let's start honoring traitors long after the war is over. But now, it's kind of giving Reconstruction, right? Because we had this short period after Reconstruction where it looked like we were going to get some black power in a real sense, positions in Congress, our lands and our rights being protected by federal troops, and that did not last. Well, that's why I made the point. It's in our DNA. You can put those Confederate statues back up. You can defile the names and the memories of people who were murdered by police. You can erase our history in your federal monuments, but you can't take it out of our DNA. So the first full month in office, Trump one of the first things on his agenda was restoring the Confederate names to all 9 military bases that had them. And that's against the law, because when they passed a law to change the names, it said you couldn't name them after Confederates. So what they did, and this is really sleazy, they found servicemen, people who had served in the military in the past, who had the same names as these Confederates, and they named the bases after them. So it's really sleazy. It's a workaround in order to get, this is how badly they want to honor these white supremacist Confederates. Can you get your mind around this? That they actually came up with a slick workaround. You're not allowed to name it after a Confederate, because that's the law passed by Congress when we were having a supposed racial reckoning in 2020. But they can name it after Private Roland Bragg, who served in World War II, who has the same name as a Confederate. And so, as Senator Jack Reed of Rhode Island said, they are violating the spirit of the law, not the letter of the law. That is the extremes that this administration is willing to go to uplift white supremacy and downplay real, actual history. The removal of the information at that Pennsylvania National Park. That information is about people who were enslaved by George Washington. Now, Philadelphia is suing them because they had an agreement to put that stuff up there. And the administration is in violation of that agreement. They do not care. They're willing to break the law. Look at the January 6th pardons. They do not care. Well, one of the people that they were honoring was a woman named Ona Judge. She escaped from slavery. She went on the Underground Railroad and made it to New Hampshire. This is 1796. This is an actual person, a documented human who was freed through the Underground Railroad. And why do you suppose our president wanted to remove that monument? Well, he claims they're rewriting exhibits that reflect negatively on the country. How does the fact that American citizens risked their lives, black people and white people, mind you, so that Ona Judge could escape? Because remember those stops on the Underground Railroad, many of those are white people's houses, right? They're risking their lives so you can hide in their floorboards or basement or in their barn. These were abolitionists, right? And black people too. We obviously played the biggest role in freeing ourselves. I'm not downplaying that, but I'm saying the fact that brave Americans were willing to defy the law in order so that Ona Judge could find freedom in 1796. How does that reflect negatively on America? That's the heroic history of America. That's the moment we're in now, where black people, white people, Latino people are coming together in unity to say, you don't get to snatch people and kidnap them off the streets. You don't get to shoot people in cold blood. You don't get to have masked, anonymous federal agents roaming around, grabbing up people with no criminal history. That is America. That's the greatness of America. How about we erase you, Trump? Because when you talk about reflecting negatively on this country, shirking your duty to serve the military by claiming you have bone spurs. To me, that reflects negatively on our country. One person's negative history is another person's heroic history. And so the fact that our president, who in my humble opinion reflects negatively on our country and should have his name taken off of everything the minute we can, including the Kennedy Center if it survives his 2 years of so-called renovation. The fact that he wants to erase Ona Judge, taking her down from the president's house site in Philadelphia, trying to keep it a secret that George Washington, although he may have been a founding father and many say a great president and a valiant general, owned human beings. Owned human beings. That's where we are this Black History Month. This is a woman who was meant to be given away as a gift to one of George Washington's wife's nieces, Martha Washington's niece. As a present, they were going to give her a person. And that is what made her decide to run for freedom. And she did so. And she succeeded. She slipped out of the Washington plantation during a dinner party and found her way to the Underground Railroad. The Underground Railroad community in Philadelphia is an important part of not just Black history, but American history. She got on a ship to New York. She went on a schooner to Portsmouth. And many people wondered why. People asked her over and over again, why would you leave the comfort of a presidential mansion for an uncertain future and possible death and punishment? And Ona Judge said, freedom. Freedom, freedom, freedom. And, of course, the man who's trying to build a golden ballroom while people starve in America doesn't want you or me to identify with Ona Judge and choose freedom over a gilded cage. Perfect time to call me, 800-920-1580. What are you celebrating, remembering, reading, or embodying this Black History Month? We are KBLA Talk 1580.
Thanks for starting your morning off with a voice that speaks truth to power and the powerless, getting to the heart of what matters most in our community. This is where authentic conversation meets real action. From breaking news and politics to culture and community solutions, this is where you hear perspectives you won't hear anywhere else. This is where we come together, get informed, and make change happen. You're inside First Things First with Dominique DePrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Good morning, sunshine. You make my day.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. In Gainesville, Georgia, only minor injuries were reported after a small plane made an emergency landing on a busy road. Gainesville Police Captain Kevin Holbrook says it could have been far worse.
The fact that they were able to land in the middle of hundreds of vehicles and only hit 3 of them is very remarkable.
2 pilots, including a student, walked away safely. Charles Sonny Burton, a black 75-year-old Alabama man who never fired the fatal shot in a 1991 robbery, is now scheduled for execution March 12th. Supporters are urging clemency, arguing it's unjust since the actual shooter's sentence was reduced years ago. And the Love Rocks NYC 10th anniversary concert is set for March 5th at the Beacon Theater, featuring Mary J. Blige, John Batiste, and more. The show supports God's Love We Deliver, which has provided over 40 million meals since 1985. Tickets are on sale this Friday. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
In the new year, make one commitment. Don't let someone else's carelessness leave you paying the price. OPO Law has been protecting Los Angeles for nearly 50 years. So if you're injured this holiday season or at any time in 2026, go to opolaw.com.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Lakers lost to Oklahoma City Monday night, 119-100 at Crypto.com. OKC snapped the Lakers' three-game winning streak. Both teams did not have their best player. Luka Doncic is still recovering from a hamstring injury. OKC's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the NBA's MVP last season, is out with an abdominal strain. LeBron had 22 points and 10 assists. The Clippers are back in action tonight at Houston. Guard Benedict Mathurin, one of the players the Clippers got from Indiana in the Ivica Zubac trade, will make his Clippers debut tonight. For Clippers fans unfamiliar with Mathurin, you're going to like him. The 4-year veteran from Arizona has some pop to his game. Top 5 women's college basketball teams in this week's national rankings: UConn, 23-1 UCLA, South Carolina, Texas, and Vanderbilt. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Autopsy Initiative provides a second autopsy free of charge for victims' families who have lost their loved ones due to a police-related death. The services offered through the initiative include the completion of a second autopsy, disclosure of preliminary findings, and a final autopsy report. A police-related death is when an individual is harmed by police officers using deadly force, which results in an individual's death. Police-related death includes in-custody deaths, including those that arise during contact with law enforcement officers during arrest, pursuit, booking, transport, or incarceration. The Autopsy Initiative has a team of board-certified pathologists on call. An autopsy request may be completed by anyone with a close relationship with the victim, which may include the victim's spouse, partner, relative, close friend, or lawyer. To request a free second autopsy for a victim of police violence, please visit knowyourrightscamp.com. That's knowyourrightscamp.com. Then click on Autopsy, then click on Request. At KBLA, we believe in justice for victims of police violence. We say their names, and we don't black down. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
It all comes down to this, folks.
Yep, the entire season is on the line.
But my throat has officially thrown in the towel.
Sounds like you need Vicks VapoCool drops. They're max strength and vaporize sore throat pain.
Whoa! These VapoCool drops hit fast.
Speaking of fast, did you just see that play?
Yeah, he vaporized that ball.
That pun should have come with a penalty.
Vaporize sore throat pain with Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed.
This is the story of the one. As an HVAC technician, he and his digital multimeter are in high demand. So when a noisy office HVAC turns out to be a failing blower motor, he doesn't break a sweat. With Grainger's easy-to-use website and product information, he selects the product he needs to keep everything humming right along. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
We knew you'd stick around. This is LA's home for progressive talk radio. Welcome back to KBLA Talk 1580.
Yeah, happy Black History Month. I'm a poor substitute for the scholar that we had planned for this morning, but you are welcome to call me at 800-920-1580. Just taking a look at some of the ways, because I've been tracking this, the way, really methodical way, that the president has intentionally erased Black history. That's why I started out talking about how we carry that history in our arts, in our culture, in our bodies, in our worldviews. There is no way that I walk the earth as the daughter of Diane DePrima and Amiri Baraka, not knowing certain things, not having been exposed to certain things. And I am not the only one. It's a whole generation of us. Your father doesn't have to be a playwright. Your mama doesn't have to be a poet. You can be a child of the movement, and we are everywhere. That said, the president ordered the Smithsonian, both the Smithsonian Institution, which is over quite a few museums and other historical projects, and the Secretary of the Interior. He ordered them to find sites that contain improper partisan ideology. What does that really mean? It means things that tell the truth about Black people, First Nations people, etc. They reviewed all the items in the gift shops for anti-American content. And one of the first things they took out of the gift shop, the 1619 Project. Again, back to me being baffled about why conservatives are suddenly angry about the monkey drawings of the Obamas. This is what we're talking about, actual removal of history, physical exhibits being taken off of public lands. There's an exhibit at Muir Woods National Monument called History Under Construction. That this is, Native American or indigenous history. Boom. They are taking it down. Meanwhile, they're selling public lands and waters to the industry, at least 88 million acres so far, so that the industry can strip it of trees and minerals, and limiting public access to public lands, defunding those agencies. All that stuff is part of what this administration is doing, which is really, first and foremost, the first priority is money, kleptocracy, taking, stealing, grabbing. It's the smash and grab presidency. But there is a very specific focus on erasing Black history, particularly anything about our enslavement. And that is necessary to tell a balanced history. We're talking about George Washington, and Miss Ona. Well, he owned her, and he tried to get her back. I think it was like 7 different attempts that they made to try to get her back enslaved at the home of George Washington, our founding father. All that gone from Philadelphia. This guy, another one of our founding fathers, so many of them owned slaves. They enslaved human beings. And so what this administration is doing is keeping the monument to the president, but taking out the nuance, the reality, the 3D, the Black part of American history, right? And Charles Pinckney, another example. This is near Charleston, South Carolina. It's a national park site. The guy is one of the signatories to the Constitution from South Carolina. He was the state's governor. He was in Congress. Well, he was a rice farmer. Oh, yeah. But the plaques that were there in that national park that tell the story of how this founding father owned human beings, 2,000 of them, 2,000 slaves on 7 plantations, owned by this signer, man who had his own draft that he presented at the Constitutional Convention back in 1787. That's up there. But the part about those 2,000 humans that he had enslaved and exploited in forced labor, that coming down. So that is, and I think that is why it is so important for us to continue to express our history through arts and culture and radio and articles and conversations and passing it on to our children. When Raymond O. Caldwell, who was in here from the Fountain Theater earlier this morning, said that his father had them watching Black TV and reading Black history when the artist Rhapsody was on with Tavis, and she said her dad made them watch Roots every Christmas. I'm sure my kid could tell you stories. That's how it goes into our DNA, and that is something that cannot be taken down by the Trump administration or any administration. It's in us. We are Black history, and they cannot outlaw our DNA. They can certainly try. Let's go to Carl calling us from LA. Good morning, Carl. You are on the radio. We're going to Carl from LA. Good morning, Carl.
How you doing, Dominique? You went all over the place with it. You narrowed it all the way down. Yeah, I'm going to pull up a book. I haven't been reading in a while, but I used to go over to that Baldwin Hills Library. They had a nice choice of things over there, and if you ordered a book, they would have it on the shelf for you in a couple of days. But like, hey, yeah, that story you was just telling, it almost touched my heart. I mean, going back into slavery, I mean, a person wanted to be free or dead. He wanted the two. That's just the way it was with them at that time. But I usually see people with libraries in their home. They have a lot of books in their home.
That's me. I have a lot of books, and more in the attic. I need to take some of those down. But that's how I came up. Also, my mom had books going down both sides of the hall from ceiling to floor, and then the entire garage, ceiling to floor bookshelves. My dad, same thing. There are books everywhere. It's almost like you couldn't avoid books.
Yeah, well, books are interesting, and it takes your mind away. I remember I was at a place where I didn't want to be, and a book twice a month kept me from, not getting into what I didn't want to be in. But you grab a book, and it'll give you the information you need. But with 47, I don't think he can. I don't think it's going to be any way he's going to snatch anything.
I mean, we don't know for sure that he
can.
can read. We don't know for sure.
Wow.
I mean, we don't. We know he doesn't read because he's stated that before he was president, that he doesn't enjoy reading. It's not something. He won't show us his grades. He doesn't stick to the prompter. I mean, I don't know. Not that I'm trying to pick on people who are illiterate, but if you're a billionaire, you should be able to read.
Well, let's keep African studies around and get it into elementary schools at the same time. Enjoy the day, Dominique. Bye.
And you as well, Carl. I mean, yes, but also, yes, read books. And also, they're banning books and taking them out of military libraries. And my thought is that young people love nothing better than a ban, right? You ban a book, they're going to go find it and read it. They might be reading it on a Kindle. They might be reading it on their phone. You might not know they're reading it. That's what I'm hoping, that the books and the history doesn't disappear, that all you do is make us want it more. But I'm reading from the Center for American Progress website, and they're quoting George Orwell from the book 1984, which I did actually read as a kid. And the quote is, "Who controls the past controls the future. Who controls the present controls the past." And that's exactly what this administration is doing. They're using their control of the present to rewrite the past so that they can control the future. Follow me now. Follow me now. First day in office. Executive order directing the U.S. Board on Geographic Names to only honor what he called visionary and patriotic Americans in our nation's rich past, which read white supremacists, Confederates, erase black people, right? That is very intentional. I don't want the Obamas to be called apes or monkeys. I am well aware of the fraught, racist history of that imagery, right? We've protested again and again and again. But what I'm saying to you is that more offensive than erasing the history of Americans, black, white, and others who resisted the institution of our enslavement? Is that more offensive than not telling the truth about the president and signers of the Constitution owning human beings? When I was in South Africa and I went to the Apartheid Museum, one of the things that most impressed me, Black history is American history, Black history is world history, is that the South African historians have done such a detailed, granular job of documenting everything that happened under apartheid. And they are very clear when you go there. They do it because they don't want it to happen again. Just like the Jewish historians say, never again. How do you make sure never again is a reality? You do it by making sure we knew and know what happened. Right? And I mean, black people seem to be the main, the giant pink eraser is trying to wipe us out first, but it's happening to indigenous people. It's happening with LGBTQ plus history. It's happening rapidly. And that is why we, whether it's, whatever small act of resistance, you got a tattoo, you write a book, you write an article, you write a song. That's why I keep talking about a new black arts movement, a second black arts movement. Because we're talking about an administration that is willing to cheat in order to change the names of military bases back to Confederates by using common soldiers who may or may not have agreed with this white supremacist project to rename them after Confederates, and who feels it's important to remove the 1619 Project, remove the plaques that tell the story of the first president of the United States and his slaves. That's where we are. So we have to take seriously, I believe, our charge of being Black history. Yep. And George Washington, first president. What was the story? The apple tree, I cannot tell a lie, or whatever. One of the biggest slaveholders among our founding fathers was our first president. Did you know that? Well, Ona Marie Judge knew that. And she was never caught. There's a book called Never Caught. Speaking of books, Carl, you might want to read that. I haven't read it yet. But it's the story of Ona and how she ran away from the plantation of the nation's first president. And despite his best efforts, like an old 1796 version of Assata Shakur, she was never caught. They offered a $10 reward. What was $10 worth in 1796? A lot of money. I guarantee you. I have no idea, but I'm sure it was a lot of money. But that $10 reward did not do the trick. And she chose freedom over the luxury of enslavement in a presidential mansion. I'm looking at this description of her from an advertisement, this $10 reward. $2,000 today? Okay, so that's not as much as I thought, but still, it's a chunk of change. Yeah. A light mulatto girl, much freckled, with very black eyes and buffy black hair. She ran away apparently at 20 and was never caught. 800-920-1580. I'm celebrating Miss Ona Judge today, even if her monument has been taken down. And I'm celebrating the people of Philadelphia who are suing to get this administration to put her story back up. Happy Black History Month from all of us at KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DePrima when we come forward.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with the world. African Focus Incorporated is a community-based organization whose mission is to bring Africans and African Americans together, lead charitable initiatives on the motherland, and educate people from all walks of life on the beauty, legacy, and opportunity of Africa's 54 nations. And it's that time once again when African Focus is teaming up with KBLA Talk 1580 for our 8th annual African Focus Trailblazers Tour. Travel with us in 2026 when we're headed to the southern African nations of Zambia and Botswana for a historical, cultural, and vacation tour led by me, Dominique DePrima, Cultural Ambassador for African Focus Incorporated. Enjoy luxurious accommodations, conscious fellow travelers, shopping, adventures, cultural cultural tours, wildlife safaris, and a giant waterfall, one of the world's 7 wonders, along with a chance to be of service at an orphanage on the continent. Become an AFI trailblazer by exploring the motherland with a nonprofit organization that has members in Africa and America to help roll out the red carpet for you, and together we'll make a difference and have fun doing it. For more information, visit africanfocus.org or call 310-676-7300. That's 310-676-7300 or africanfocus.org. Whether it's stateside or exploring the diaspora, we're with you every step of the way. African Focus and KBLA Talk 1580. Come go with us.
Are you drowning in IRS tax debt? Angela was. She called Civic Tax Relief and saved over $80,000. Felicia was having health problems, got behind on her taxes, interest and penalties were adding up. She called Civic Tax Relief and saved over $15,000. Civic Tax Relief is a professional tax negotiation firm that can protect you from the IRS. If you're getting collection letters, call Civic Tax Relief for a free consultation. They will go to work helping you discover all the relief programs you may qualify for free. James owed the IRS $37,000. Civic Tax Relief represented him against the IRS, and by the time everything was completed, he did not owe the IRS anything. If you are in trouble with the IRS, call Civic Tax Relief for your free consultation now. 800-200-2257. 800-200-2257. Get a free consultation and real tax relief. Call 800-200-2257. 800-200-2257.
The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
The conversation continues right now with Dominique DePrima on First Things First.
But here's the good news regarding, well, there's actually quite a bit regarding the Trump administration's erasure of those panels in Philadelphia that pay tribute to 9 slaves, not just enslaved persons, not just own a judge, but 9 people that the president at the time illegally enslaved, because Philadelphia was the capital at that time of the U.S., and they were in the process of eliminating slavery, or I guess curtailing it. So people from out of town were allowed to keep enslaved persons for 6 months. And what the president, George Washington, did was he got around the law by rotating enslaved persons. He'd send them, back down south and where it was legal. Then he'd get a new 9 people. And then he kept rotating them in order that they would only be held for 6 months. So shady. Anyway, a judge has decided that the Trump administration cannot take down anything else from the president's house exhibit in Philadelphia, that the administration has to safely store all of those exhibits and cannot destroy them. The judge actually went down and inspected those plaques. There were 34 of them. They haven't been destroyed. She said some of them showed damage. Her name is Cynthia Roof. She went down and looked at them, and she said, you have to store them safely. You cannot touch this house anymore until this is decided by the courts. And there's a group called the Avenging the Ancestors Coalition, which I love that name. They are part of the force that put those exhibits in place back in the early 2000s. And he went with her to look at those plaques and found that they are all still intact, although some are damaged. And the other good news is that there are several counties surrounding Philadelphia, right? Smaller counties that have joined in this lawsuit, that are saying, no, you can't just take down these exhibits. We had deals in place, some of them going back decades, that allow this to be here. This is a partnership with the government. You don't just get to take it down without our input. And apparently, the surrounding counties have now joined into this lawsuit, and so that means it is going to be a much bigger fight, and there will be more people joining in. It's not just the city of Philly, but now 4 surrounding counties that are taking on the Trump administration. And there was a massive protest with students and teachers that were saying, we want our exhibit back. You don't get to dismantle history. And what I love so much about that, aside from the fact that it's activism by young people, which is always a good thing, what I love so much about it is that a lot of these students probably would have never cared, or maybe they never would have gone to the President's House exhibit. Maybe they would, maybe they wouldn't. Now they will never forget it. Now they have marched for Black history. And believe me, when you look at this protest, and I'm looking at pictures of the protest, it is Black students, yes, but I also see Latinos, I see Asians, I see white folks, a lot of them holding up signs, history repeats with silence. And this isn't politics, it's history. And standing up for Ona Judge and those other enslaved persons, that their stories not be erased. Thanks for sticking with me as I freestyle some Black history. You never know what's going to happen around here. What you do know for sure is that Tavis Smiley's up next, and he's got a solid and incredible show ready for you to go on this day. What I do know is I'll be back with you tomorrow. What I do know is, like my papa, the great and late Amiri Baraka, used to say, a man is either free or he is not free. There can be no apprenticeship for freedom. Until tomorrow, KBLA delegation, one love.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. In Gainesville, Georgia, only minor injuries were reported after a small plane made an emergency landing on a busy road. Gainesville Police Captain Kevin Holbrook says it could have been far worse.
The fact that they were able to land in the middle of hundreds of vehicles and only hit 3 of them is very remarkable.
2 pilots, including a student, walked away safely. Charles Sonny Burton, a Black 75-year-old Alabama man who never fired the fatal shot in a 1991 robbery, is now scheduled for execution March 12th. Supporters are urging clemency, arguing it's unjust since the actual shooter's sentence was reduced years ago.